Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to hell, aka another Jets episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast, the recap episode of another primetime game, Greg, where the Jets honestly embarrass themselves on offense. I mean, that's where I have to start here. I had to rewatch this game. We're recording live here on Monday night. Thank God we were not able to record because the game ended so late on Sunday night. I actually rewatched the game because I feel like I blacked out. And even rewatching it, man, the offense is just so embarrassing. We'll get into the numbers here. If you were listening to the broadcast yesterday, they were so excited to go through, the statistics. Oh, worst red zone offense in 32 years, Marv. Oh yeah, Collinsworth. The rhetoric around the Jets at this point, we just have to take it, Greg, because we can't score a touchdown. I mean, there's 9 games. We have 8 touchdowns. We can't even get a touchdown per game. So at this point, we just have to take it. The offense is absolutely abysmal. But when you go back and watch it, and why this is the most frustrating team I can remember, there's really no fix because it's not Zach Wilson. He's not the problem. We'll go over. He makes mistakes. He's not the problem. I'm sorry. Like, if that's what you're here for, just close this, find something else. He's not the problem. He's
Welcome
not.
to the right side. Welcome to the right side of the take, John. I appreciate you joining us.
There's a huge issue on every play. Sometimes it is Zach Wilson. Sometimes it's the running back. It could be Michael Carter with the chop block, which, by the way, he did not see a snap after that. The most ridiculous chop block I've ever seen. Bryce Huff had his own version of the chop block. That was insane too. Bryce Huff just has some insane penalties. That's the theme of today, just insanity. Penalties everywhere. If it's not the running back, it's the wide receiver dropping. If it's not the wide receiver dropping, it's CJ Uzomah getting a holding. If it's not CJ Uzomah getting a holding, it's Garrett Wilson. It's Garrett Wilson getting a drop. It's Allen Lazard getting a drop. It's Allen Lazard not running. What was that wide open lob that for some reason he was 20 yards away from a lob? I've never seen that before. Like, usually that's a click right in the basket.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson had some great plays yesterday, man. Whether it was looking away and throwing that Conklin pass that everyone saw, whether it was getting out of the pocket. He also had some really bad plays. Like, he's underthrowing it, dude. How many times can he just not hit the flat? Like, it's crazy. How many times do we miss that? We could jump on Hackett. That Garrett Wilson call, the trickery with Garrett Wilson going out, and dude, he was wide open. Allen Lazard was wide open. He just threw it out of bounds. Like, he was wide open. That would have been Hackett is a genius. Hackett is amazing.
Yeah.
You know what Hackett can do? Hackett can't play right guard, Greg. I mean, Newman, a right guard, he had some tough plays, but after watching just the broadcast, Greg, just rewatching the broadcast today, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think our biggest problem on offense today, besides CJ Uzomah and his penalties,
I hate him.
Becton had a really bad game. Agent 77. A lot of the biggest issues of this game were coming through Becton's side. And that is really frustrating for me. I wonder if that's going to change again. The Jets are going to have yet another offensive line change, but I want it, right? So here I am complaining about yet another offensive line change, but I need it, right? I need Dwayne Brown back at left tackle, healthy. And I want Becton back at right tackle. And I want Mitchell at right guard. Tittman had a bad false start, but at least let's start there. Like that's how to fix this offense. There's just so many mistakes. Shout out to all the Jets fans that went to Vegas, including our boy Richie from New York Jets Media. They showed out in Vegas. What a frustrating game to go to. And I mean, just to close out with a a Tyler Conklin defended ball on Garrett Wilson. It's just a
Yeah.
perfect way to end this game. And we'll go through this game. But Greg, what are your initial thoughts here? How do you feel about this team? I'm really happy we let this marinate for 24 hours because yesterday I blacked out. I blacked out yesterday while watching this game. I don't even know what happened today. I'm like, how do we? I watched the first quarter today. How did we lose this game? I don't understand. We're playing amazing.
Yeah, I feel like we should have been up. You know, I feel like we should have been up 13-3, 13-6 at half, maybe 17-6 at half, like 17-3 at half, maybe, depending, because they might not get the ball back to kick a field goal, late in the second half. I just feel like this offense, man, is so frustrating to watch from like everyone's perspective. I think the bright light, the shining star of yesterday, personally, was the offensive line and their ability to protect Zach Wilson. Like, I thought the offensive line played great. I know that Mekhi Becton might not have had a tremendous game himself, but Max Crosby, we talked about it going to the preview. Like, how many pressures is he going to get? How many sacks is he going to get? 3 total tackles, 0 solo tackles. The only time this season so far he's had zero solo tackles. The lowest tackle total on the season for him at 3. No sacks, 2 QB hits. On the last play of the game, with Zach Wilson throwing the Hail Mary, who's in his grill in 2 seconds? Max Crosby. How many quarterbacks in this league are going to make Max Crosby miss twice on a pass rush and still get a 70-yard bomb down the field off and in the end zone for your team able to catch it?
So that's the growth. That's the growth there, Greg. And I agree. But then on the other hand, if we're on Zach Wilson here, we can talk about the mismanagement of every timeout in every half. Like we're calling timeouts because of delay of games we're about to call, and we're off an incomplete pass. We went from 3 timeouts at minute 28 to like a minute 9 with 1 timeout, and it was a dead ball.
Yeah.
What's going on here? So yes, he does have like phenomenal plays, but he also has insane, stupid, idiotic plays that just drive us insane. And you got to give it to the fan base, yeah, right? You have to validate that he makes. Honestly, the interception, that's for me, that's not in that category. Even in the replay, I have no idea how that linebacker got that ball. It was a hard throw. It was
the
fine.
linebacker made a great call, a great read. He started running before Zach Wilson was even ready to throw the ball, and then by the time Zach Wilson threw the ball, he was there. I mean, it was a bad interception. I don't think I think you could put some blame on Zach Wilson.
It's first of the year.
My thing, what's up?
Is this first of the year?
No, it's his first in a while though, which has been
first in a
great
couple
to see.
games.
Like, that's another point of maturation and growth. It's not just the rushing, and when he's rushing, not taking big hits afterwards, because we don't need it. We obviously need him healthy. It's not just the ability to extend the play and make something happen and not feel like he has to rush the ball every time, and he still relies on his arm. I mean, there's a couple plays. There's that one to Alan Lazard that everyone's sharing all over Twitter, where he's moving up in the pocket, then moving to the right side, sidearms it to Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard tips it to himself 14 times, then he finally comes down with it.
Oh, dude. I thought he was literally about to throw the ball away. I honestly thought he was going to catch it and throw it.
There's points of maturation for Zach Wilson that I'd love to see. There's still some head-scratching, boneheaded plays, but my response to that would be, how many NFL quarterbacks play a full game, a full 60 minutes without boneheaded plays, without head scratchers, without, like, what are you doing?
Here's the thing, Greg.
Here's the thing, John. Just right off the top of my head, I'd say 10% of quarterbacks play a game and they don't make bad decisions throughout the game.
I'm totally with you, and I also think that. But then, Greg, I hear stats like the Jets are the only team in the NFL to not score a touchdown on the first drive. The only team. Like, there's every team in the league. Yep. We're the only team that has not scored a touchdown on the first drive. I just thought that was normal. I thought that was normal that you don't score. Apparently not. Field goal, this game on the first drive was the first time we scored points on the first drive all season long. We're the last team to score any. I mean, we are at a historical point, like 22% on third down. And it's easy to say that and be lazy about it. And then when you watch the actual tape, we are so close. And that's what's driving me nuts. I actually agree with Coach Bobby Saleh. And I'm the first one to say he's a liar. He lies about a lot of things. We are actually close, Greg. You know why?
Yeah.
Because on that huge Zach Wilson run where we're so mad that his foot stepped out, there was a huge block by Becton on that. There was a huge block by Newsom on that. Like we
Yeah.
are by Newman on that. We did really good on a lot of plays that got brought back. Brees Hall had a touchdown and he had a hurdle. All right, the guy got injured on it, unfortunately, but two huge highlight plays. One was a first down, one was a touchdown. It's not even on our radar. Now we're just saying, oh, Jets can't score. Jets can't score. Jets scored twice this game,
I
right?
saw it with my own 2 eyes. I saw Brees Hall in the end zone with my own 2 eyes. It
I'm
happened.
just saying they're right there. They are right. It's not like we're the Giants and we're Tommy DeVito, who, by the way, had 2 touchdowns.
That's my thing, John. That's my thing. Is like we're right there. We're right there. We're right there to what? To scoring a touchdown. Like
Yeah,
that's not a place you want to be, but that's where we're at.
it's
Like,
tough because here's the thing, man. We're doing a lot. Okay, if you take a tally chart and you start tallying all the things that the Jets are doing correct, there's going to be way more green than red. However, on the critical plays, the Jets, it's always a red mark. You know, sometimes it flips, right? We have an Eagles game, we have luck in the Giants game, we have luck last year in the Browns game. Like sometimes, it's a flicker of, but for the most part, when it's crucial time, the Jets mess up. Like that's just where we're at, right? We give it up. Like we score, flag, score, flag, punt it, we can't field it. Dude, we need Justin Hardy back.
yeah,
There was like 2-3 punts in this game. It could have been within the 10-yard line. The Gunners aren't getting there. Also, they fielded the reason they scored at the end of the first half is because they fielded a punt back and they got good field position.
yeah,
Right. What's frustrating is like even with the game plan, like for example, you go watch the first couple drives that the Raiders had on offense. The game plan is there against the Jets defense. You find the zone where the linebacker is. You get Devontae Adams or Hunter Renfrow, whoever you want to throw to. You get him on there. You're going to get yards. You're going to get third and short. Like that's the game plan. It worked. You get the tight end, on the nickel, it ended up being Michael Carter, and you moss him. That was a sick touchdown by the rookies. First ever touchdown. That was insane moss on Michael Carter. Like you can't.
Was it Michael Carter? I thought it was Whitehead. I thought it was a safety. Like that's even
Was it
crazy.
Whitehead?
Yeah, I
It might have been
thought
Whitehead.
it was number 3. It's either number 3 or number 30. So,
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
but I
That's
thought
right.
it was
It might have
Whitehead
been.
because again, it's like to your point, it's like you're matching up on our linebackers and our safeties. That's where you're going to beat us. That's been the case for 20 years now,
And that's
and that
fine.
and that ball was a perfectly thrown ball, put only where his guy could catch it if his guy made an incredible play.
And
And
by
to
the
your
way,
point,
it was
the
third
rookie
down.
tight end went up and got it. And again, what is it? It's a tight end beating us again, John.
But
Again,
that's
how many
fine.
times?
But that's fine. But like again, that's fine. It's if that's the way it's gonna happen, that's okay. What's bothering me is okay, Greg. You always say bend don't break, and I get mad at that statement. But that's what it is. That's how we bend. We give up. We give up yards. You're gonna have to give it up somewhere. We give up yards and points to our safeties. Linebackers. And that usually comes in running backs and tight ends. That's just the way it is. Devontae Adams got free yesterday because he's getting in the middle. Like if you go back and watch all his plays, he's literally running in the zone to get in the middle.
Yeah.
So there's a script. What's bothering me, Greg, is when we follow the script on our side and then it gets called back, right? Like we're running the ball correctly, gets called back. And now everyone's screaming, oh, Hackett stinks. What do you want Hackett to do on third and 21 is getting called back and it's half the distance of the goal, becoming third and 22 or something. Like that's how tough of a situation we're in at the moment. You know what I mean? And we had the first down. Like there was, I think, 3 first downs yesterday, and including one of the touchdown. Well, that's not technically a first down, but that's 3 positive plays that got called back, game-changing plays that got called back
Yeah.
on stupid holds. Like and by the way, again, that field goal, not only was it a punt problem, Bryce Huff got that rough in the passer, give an extra 15 yards, and he hit a 54-yard field goal. It wasn't like he hit a 28-yard or a 30. He hit a 54. Even every yard there counted, let alone a 15-yarder on top of a catch. Like That's why I'm frustrated, Greg. Like that's why like I'm sitting here today in this recap pissed off because it's the stupidest thing. It's Michael Carter. Why is he in on third down? Greg, why is Michael Carter in on third down? And
I
then
don't know.
at the end of it, if you know he's gonna go for a chop block like that, like, does he know that if he can't be engaged with Becton at the time? Like, it's just annoying, dude. Like, you're our third string running back. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You're like CJ Uzama. You're our third string tight end. I don't care what the depth chart says. You're a third string tight end. You can't get 2 penalties that ruin the game, dude. You just can't. Like, I need to be able to punt. I need to be able to down the ball. I need to be able to kick field goals. Zach Wilson might turn the ball over once or twice. We're gonna get 1 or 2 turnovers on defense. We're gonna give up yards and points to the tight end, the running back, and with field goals. Like that's the formula.
Yeah,
Anything outside of that, like once if you start going outside of that, we're not going to win games, Greg. Like the margin is very small for our game plan, of our strengths and weaknesses. You know, we can give up points and stuff to the tight end and the running back as long as we, hammer down the quarterback. Right? We can move the ball when we run and then the team's like, yo, let them run the ball as long as Jets can throw it. You know what I mean? We have to be able to catch. We have to be able to. I can't believe, Greg, that they were trying to convince us that this is called the gold zone. How embarrassing is that? That they wanted to call the red zone the gold zone. They're trying to convince us that of Hard Knocks show us gold member. It's embarrassing when the Jets are in the red zone. I actually have zero confidence when the Jets are in the red zone, even though they're scoring and it's getting brought back.
I was gonna say, I think we were only in the red zone one time last night. Like, we're not even getting in the red zone. Like, that's what's like so tough about these things. Like, oh, it's the worst red zone offense, like percentage wise, in 40 years. It's like, yeah, it's percentage wise because we never make it to the red zone. We were 0 for 1 last night. It's a terrible percentage, 0%. But by the way, the 0 for 1 red zone that we were in last night, we scored a touchdown. Tyler Conklin's just an ass, or not Tyler Conklin. CJ Uzama's just an ass and needs to hold on every single play. So it got called back. So if he scores that touchdown, Breece Hall goes in. We're 100% in the red zone, John. I'm not a mathematician. I don't think you can get better than 100%. So this narrative about all this stuff, or the worst in 40 years, all this stuff, like it's so razor thin. It's so small of an error margin for this Jets team. And we've just been kicking ourselves in the foot, stepping on rakes over and over again. I mean, it's just to your point when you brought up the Bryce Huff thing. I think that's a good point, dude. If he doesn't make that penalty, it's 13-12 in the fourth quarter. Does Zach Wilson throw an interception? No, we just run the ball, kick a field goal. We win 15-12. The game's over. 15-13, and the game's over. Like,
Greg, if Michael Carter doesn't chop block, we just keep the ball for a little bit. We run the ball. We're actually getting in the red zone, and the Raiders don't get the ball back, and we put our points. The game is completely changed, dude.
It's insane. It's insane. Like I said, I was tweeting out last night. CJ's on. I think the only thing I didn't tweet out was going into halftime, and I felt this way. Is like, dude, no matter what happens in the second half, if we lose this game, is 100% on CJ Uzama. It's the craziest thing to say, but Zach Wilson could have came out there and thrown 40 interceptions, and I would have just been like, this is a 100% on CJ Uzama because it just completely derails a fragile team right now. Like, we're a fragile team that's not good on offense, and all you're doing is making an impossible task that much harder.
That's true. I mean,
for no reason. Like, why are you holding Max Crosby on a run inside? Like, if something happens, something happens. But dude, the only thing we can't do is go back 5 yards. We're on the 2. Like, it's the Jets. Like, we're just right here. We're at the red zone. So, like, what are you doing? The other penalty too, like that was like what, a 17-yard play for Garrett Wilson.
A couple times that happened.
Not only is it negated, but then it comes back. Like, and then following that, Zach Wilson steps up to the plate, makes a good pass to Garrett Wilson, and he drops the ball. So it's like it's all over the place, dude. The only, like I said, for me, the offensive line, I think the offensive line played well last night on the offensive side of the ball, and I thought Breece Hall played well last night.
I can't say the offensive line played well, dude. I'm telling you, Becton. Okay, yes, maybe overall totality, yes, but I'm telling you, the bad plays, the blown out plays, there's a lot on Becton and there was a lot on Newman. and I'm ready to shuffle it back. I'm ready to shuffle it. Give me Dwayne Brown at left.
Well,
Put
Dwayne
Becton
Brown's
at
not
right.
healthy.
I think he's going to be good to go this week.
Yeah, if he's good to go, yeah, I'm down to shuffle it. But if the guy can't suit up, the guy can't suit up. I mean, dude, we're on. Like I said, we're on our. We're on our second string center, third string right guard. I mean, dude, Max Mitchell is blocking down Max Crosby last night.
Killing him.
How can you who is why is no one talking about that? The reason we're not talking about that is because of stupid penalties from CJ Uzama. That's the only reason we're not talking
Michael
about
Carter. Michael Carter.
Michael Carter. I mean, there's tons to go around. I mean, just false start on Joe Tippmann in the second half, stunted a drive. And what
Drops
happened?
by Lazard.
Yeah, there's all the stuff we've been talking about for 20 minutes already. And if you're watching the broadcast last night, like Collinsworth, I think said it really well. And it's just getting in predictable positions. Like, how many times were we in not third and long, but third and 18, third and 22, third and 16? Like, what is Zach Wilson supposed to do with a team that doesn't want to catch a football? Like, that's what drives me crazy is I can't wait to hear all week long about how Zach Wilson sucks. And Zach Wilson needs to go, blah, blah, blah. Who are we going with? He's a backup quarterback. Who is a better backup quarterback in the league right now? Like last week we talked about 10 good quarterbacks in the league.
I'll take
Zach
Josh
Wilson's
Dobbs.
a backup quarterback.
I will take everything back. I stand my ground on everything I said about Josh Dobbs, and I will throw out your history book. If we had Josh Dobbs, I think the game plan would actually just be different. I wouldn't say we'd win. Maybe we would, honestly, though. But that's neither here nor there. I think Zach is
Arizona,
fine.
he won one.
I mean, it was a good game, though. He killed it in Minnesota. On a 5-game winning streak. I can't believe it, dude. That's what drives me nuts. Like, what does Minnesota have that we don't have, dude? We have a top defense. Minnesota doesn't have a quarterback. Doesn't have nothing. Jefferson's out. Their offensive line is out. Like, they do the Ezra Cleveland trade. They trade for Josh Dobbs, and look at them. Like, that's what
TJ Hawkinson. Guess what he does? Catch the ball. Guess what he does? Not get penalties when people running for touchdowns. I don't know.
It's true. I mean, you're right.
Consummate professional, top 5 tight end that doesn't get penalties for no reason.
I do want to mention something that Coach Sala talked about today, and he talked about making some moves on the depth chart. I know Jets fans, it's not for Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be. I think it's time for Israel.
Yes,
a running back. I think it's time for him to come up.
Got some more rookie cards in today from eBay. I hope it is this time.
I think it's time. I think it's time for him to be the third string running back.
Yep.
Dalvin Cook looked good when he was in. I don't care what anybody says. The
he
one
did. He looked
pretty
good.
Was the other way. Like, it was the wrong way, him and Zach down that screen. So it's whatever. They'll figure it out. Lazard?
But see, like that right there, is that Zach Wilson missing a pass?
The Lazard thing, right? Or is it
the Dalvin Cook on that?
No,
on that
I think the Dalvin Cook was Zach Wilson missing.
Zach Wilson, I think Zach Wilson thinks he's going upfield because he has room, and Dalvin Cook just keeps running to the flat.
Oh, he just looked. I don't know. That kind of to me felt like Zach Wilson issue. He's supposed to know he's a quarterback, right? But for me, especially rewatching it, Greg, the Lazard throw. I mean, I don't think it's more obvious that's Lazard's fault. It was the most Lamar Jackson lob I've ever seen.
Lazard, what player?
Down the seam.
Interception?
No, it was down the seams. I believe there was like 2 minutes. There was like maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly when it was, but there was a play where Zach had Lazard down the seam. I believe it was in the first half. Overthrew it, quote unquote, like landed 5 yards ahead of him. That ball was in the air for 7 seconds. Yeah. Lazard was just slow on that ball. I mean, at some point, we have to kind of reconcile with the fact that maybe he's not a number 2 wide receiver. It's starting to be clear. Like, he's had 10 weeks. It's starting to be clear now. We paid him like he was, though, right? So it's a bit of an issue. And at the same time, Xavier Gibson looking pretty good. He does look like Randall Cobb. Honestly, he does.
Yeah, Randall Cobb was hyping him up on the sideline when he was making some plays. He had a nice little wheel route there on a little screen pick play there in the first half. Yeah, dude, with the Al Lazard, I mean, Bart Scott, I think that was the one who called him out for the interception. said that it's his fault for the interception, not necessarily Zach Wilson's. I don't agree with that, but he said it's a slow route, it's a lazy route. And then when he gets to his route, instead of coming back to the football, he just sits there. I mean, if you watch that in slow motion, Alan Lazard looks like a little bitch. Like he's just sitting there, like, oh, it looks like me out there. Like I'm not an NFL player. You shouldn't be looking like me out there. Instead, the linebacker just steps right in front of him and runs with it. Like, dude, what are you doing? Just run to the football. Play some football. This is crunch time. Zach Wilson made an incredible play. Step up in the pocket while getting tackled, throws the ball downfield to Conklin. Conklin makes an incredible catch down the field. You don't have any juice at that point as an offensive player. You don't have any fire, any excitement to run out there, run your route as hard as you can, come back to the football, drive on the football, try to make a play for your team. Like, if you don't have the excitement and the juice, then when is it showing up? Because it's crunch time. We're in the trenches. Bullets are flying. We're trying to score a game-winning touchdown here. Where you at?
But yeah, this is officially for me a game. This is the L for Coach Saleh. Your team's undisciplined on the offensive side of the ball.
True.
Your team's undisciplined on the defensive side of the ball. You get penalties. You give up points. Your team has a problem on special teams almost every single week. That's a coaching problem. And the wrong guys are playing. And it's time to finally figure that out. And lastly, your timeouts. Another day where I know you were screaming. I know you were cursing. I know you're blaming the ref. But, I've never seen Bill Belichick lose 10 seconds on timeout in my life. I've just never seen it. Like, this guy, it's happening like this. We lost 4 timeouts yesterday. Like, we lost 10 seconds on one. We gave up one in the first half, and then we lost another one in the second. Like, what are we doing? I've never seen that happen one time in my life with real coaches. Like, seriously. And now we have lots of penalties with a superstar team. Like, it's a superstar defense. Why are we having a ridiculous roughing the call every week? We're giving up points through penalties. You know what I'm saying? We're giving up points through penalties we're losing points on offense through penalties. To me, that's a coaching problem. You gotta coach your guys. Like, that's the whole point. I know it's dumb, like you can't, players play, but the coach has the discipline. Like a really well coached team, they don't do that. We false start, we get a hold on third down, we get roughing the passer on third down. Like that's Jets football.
Yeah, I think one thing, we've talked a lot about penalties. We've talked a lot about issues too. And there's some chatter here and there about Robert Saleh, maybe the seat's heating up for him, this and that. I think that, and I don't know how to look this up or what to do for this, but I would put it forward, dude. The timing of the Jets penalties are so bad, it's almost comical. Like, to your point, it's always like, when on defense, it's a third down that converts to a first down for the other team. On offense, it's a third down that converted to a first down, or a second down that converted to a first down that's getting called back, and now it's 2nd and 26, or it's 3rd and 18. Like why are we like, we're not getting a false start on first down, so it's 1st and 15, and we have to figure it out. Like, we could chip away at that. When it's 3rd and 20, so when it's 3rd and 22, or when it's 3rd and 18, or when it's 2nd and 26, there's just nothing you can do. The drive is over unless you have a superstar quarterback and superstar players. And newsflash, we don't. So as soon as that happens, the drive is done. It's over. And it's one thing, like, if you look at the stats, it's like, oh, we got 8 penalties for 88 yards. It's about when those penalties happen and how those penalties happen that are driving the fan base crazy. And I think rightfully so. I mean, it's absolutely insane. The timing of these penalties is absolutely.
I love that you said that. I love that you said that, because even if you box score the penalties, I remember at one point it's like 5 for 55 yards, and I was like, that should be 5 for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like that's what those penalties felt like. And it was just, you're right about that third down thing, like the Michael Meyer third down. It always comes down to third down for these Jets, but that's the whole thing, Greg. That's what we're trying to talk about. That's really, I feel like, the conclusion we got to today is like, we have no margin of error. We know what team we are. We're going to give up certain things. We're going to do certain things, but we can't go outside of it. We can't give up the penalties. Right? It's going to come down to third down. We're not going to win games on 1st and 2nd down. Like we're gonna have to work with 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 6s, but we can't work with 3rd and 18s, 3rd and 22s.
It's impossible. With this team, it's impossible.
All
So the
right.
drive's dead. One thing real quick though, John, I want to talk. You started talking about the defense a little bit. The defense is something special to watch. And as a Jets fan, it sucks that we're back in this position again, year after year, decade after decade, it feels like. But to watch this defense in the first half, there was a drive. I don't know which drive it was, but the I might be able to look it up in our group text or whatever, but I was texting about it. The Las Vegas Raiders were trying to look it up real quick. It was an 11-play drive. It went on forever, and they made it down to the Jets 26. And the following plays were a sack for -8 yards, an incomplete pass, a sack for 11 yards, and then a punt. If you're on the Jets 26 and you have to punt the football because of pressure from this defensive line that only rushes 4, this defensive line and this defensive unit is something unbelievable to watch week in, week out. By the way, a sack by Solomon Thomas, so it was the second unit was in. They're still eating. They're still making plays. Michael Clemens had a good game, even though we called him out last week for having a little bit of an off game.
And
He
he got
came back and played
blindsided.
well.
Did you see that blindside?
Yeah, and rightfully so to call it out, DJ Reed. Like, what is that? Like, you can it's a crackback block. He's getting blocked back to the line of scrimmage. If you're an offensive player, if you're a defensive player, that's illegal. But also because he's an offensive player, it's okay. It makes no sense.
When he's celebrating in his face. Yo,
Yeah.
Michael Clemens, I get that's where I lose. That's where I lose my self control, and then people get mad. Oh, those guys on this one. That's why I get up.
Scumbag.
I murdered Jacoby Myers on Michael Clemens. Like I just take over the team. I'll just take this game check, like and call it a day.
Yeah. So again, this defense is something special. The only thing that stood out to me, John, and I wanted your opinion on this because as someone who's been so impressed by this defense and loves this defense so much, I feel like we're giving up tackles to go for fumbles. And I don't know how I feel about that. Specifically, the Josh Jacobs run for 40 yards in the second half. Sauce Gardner behind him has an opportunity to tackle him at like the 15-yard line, 20-yard line, goes for the punch out or wrap around punch out to block the ball out. Doesn't happen. Josh Jacobs keeps running. Then Michael Carter comes up and tackles him, I think, at the 10-yard line and makes him fumble. Still going for the ball. Like, this Jets team is hungry. This Jets team it's one of the more violent defenses I've watched in a long time. Like, they hit people and I get concerned. Not for the other people, but for my people because they're hitting them so hard. And Michael Carter makes him fumble, but they fumble it out of the bound at the 15 or whatever. They get the ball back, and that ends up being the touchdown drive.
Yeah.
So maybe we could have saved 15 yards there, 10 yards there by just tackling the guy instead of going for the fumble. But then it pays off later in the game. 6 minutes left. They fumble it. Josh Jacobs recovers it. And then 2 plays later, they fumble it again and we get it back. So something I've noticed, I just wanted your opinion on this. Like, should we just be going all out for turnovers and fumbles because that's the only way we're going to win these football games? And if we end up giving an extra 10 yards on a run, it doesn't really matter. Or should we just stick to basics, stick to 10 yards does matter with this team. Every inch matters with this team. And we should just be going for tackles and stop caring so much about these fumbles because, let's be frank, we're not getting 50-50 on them. I feel like it's 70-30. The other team's still recovering it, which sucks.
Well, that last part, that's an argument to keep doing it because turnovers even out. That's what we've learned. But not for the Jets.
As a gambler, John, I just want to say, there's some iffy math with that. You're not due. It's not going to hit. Just because it's hit black 6 times in a row, it's not going to hit red this time.
Yeah, just there's some luck associated with turnovers. I guess that's the point. So it's gonna flip flop.
Hopefully.
But here's the thing, and it's so funny. You mentioned a couple things that like sparked in my head. You said can't give up any inches. Yo, that 4th and inches play, what CJ Mosley held them down, and that was also a touchdown drive. Dude, it looked like it was stopped.
Yeah,
I mean, we did everything we could. It really did look like, I watched it again. It really did look like it was stopped. So, when it's time to tackle, I think the Jets do. However, and I don't know if it's an excuse or not, because Sauce Gardner had a really good on ball tackle on Adams yesterday. It was really big, like to stop him on third down. However, 2 or 3 times a game, or let's say, let's be nice, 2 or 3 times this year. Okay, Sauce Gardner, eh, I wouldn't say exactly lowers his shoulders to make a tackle. Kind of swings his arms around. So I think that's his excuse, right? Like he's like, listen, I'm not gonna tackle him. I'm scrawny. I'm skinny. I'm tall. I don't want to get hurt. So I'm just gonna swing my long arms at the ball. So I think they kind of have like a you do this type deal. You know what I mean? Like because DJ Reed's not doing that. DJ Reed is going for the tackle. He's bringing you down as fast as he can. CJ Mosley, he's trying to get the tackle. Quincy, I feel like, is going for the fumble. You know what I mean? So I feel like they might have like a little bit of a system going, because I don't really want everybody. Like I want Michael Clemens. I don't really want him diving for the ball anymore. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has a role, kind of deal.
Yeah.
But dude, the defense doesn't need fixing. It just doesn't. The defense doesn't. It's fine. It just needs to not make penalties. The offense, the quarterback doesn't need fixing, as crazy as it sounds. The running back room doesn't need fixing. The offensive line needs some shuffling. The wide receivers need some shuffling.
The offensive line needs to get healthy.
Yeah, everyone needs to get healthy, man. Everybody. But yo, you said impossible. Last thing here, and this is the recap episode. We're gonna get into it for next episode. We saw the Raiders first week with the new coach, Mr. Antonio Pierce, beat the Giants. Came back, beat the Jets. Next week, Raiders have the Miami Dolphins off a bye in Miami. We are officially huge Raiders fans. Okay. Another thing. Tonight, we got the Bills at home versus the Broncos. Broncos off a bye and off a win versus the Chiefs. Nice little bye week for them. They're hyped to go into that bye week. Now they're at the Bills. Bills, Micah Hyde is out too. Interesting game, but regardless of this game, regardless of those things, we're going to be Raiders fans and we're going to be Broncos fans for the next couple of weeks. So forget your Sean Payton stuff. Forget the last week for the Raiders. You got to put it all away. We're Broncos fans or Raiders fans. Shout out AFC West. Greg. The New York Jets beat the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, Orchard Park. Beat the Miami Dolphins Black Friday. The New York Jets are 6-5, number 1 in the AFC East. So as much as this year has sucked, as much as this week has sucked, 2-game win streak versus division team, the first one we beat already. 1 game at a time. You beat the team we beat already. Week 1. We are win and you're in top of the AFC East hosting a playoff game. So let's not get crazy. Let's just step back for a second. Tough game, tough loss, road game. We have another huge road game. It's a 2-game road trip. We got to win one. We got to win this Buffalo game. And I'm telling you, Greg, we win this Buffalo game. It's a very winnable game. The score is going to be 22-18 Jets. I'm telling you right now. And it's going to come down to a field goal or something stupid on special teams. And I can't wait for it. And it's going to be win on Black Friday. And we are hosting a playoff game at MetLife Stadium at week 13. Like that's where we're going to be lined up at. Week 13, the Jets are at this moment hosting a playoff game. It's going to be, can you imagine? Would you have said? It's going to be that whole thing.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. Because it's the Bills, it's the Dolphins, and the Jets' backs are against the wall. Jets are in no time to be complacent. The Jets are in no time to be like, oh, no worry, we'll split with the Bills. The Jets are in no time for that. There's no time for that. The Jets see Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. The Jets see that they can win these stupid games if they just don't freaking commit the dumbest penalties. The dumbest penalties. Like, they're not even good penalties. They're the dumbest penalties. We could win these ball games. Beat the Bills in Orchard Park next Sunday. We'll talk about it next week. And I'm ready, baby. I'm ready for the AFC East. I'm telling you, Greg. And I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to project it real quick right here. Sure. On November 13th, the Jets are going to beat the Bills. The Jets are going to beat the Dolphins. We're going to be in the top of the AFC East. Jets fans are going to be going crazy. The world's going to be on top of its head. No one's going to know what to do. Jets have easy 2 home games, one at home versus Desmond Ritter, and then one at home versus the Texans. LL. Double L. All right, we'll be 6 and 7, and then we're right back in the hunt, right back trying to figure it all out. Like, but we'll talk about all that later. Next 2 games, 6 and 5, top of the division. That's what I need.
I'm ready for it.
All right. Knicks come, Jets come, ETC period on the YouTube and on the X and on the Facebook and on the Insta at Winning P Weekly. That's where we have the full slate gambling. Oh my God, only like 2 more college weeks left. It's disgusting. Oh my God, like 6 more NFL weeks, 7 more. Oh my goodness, 7 more NFL
There's still a
weeks.
lot of NFL left. There's still a lot of NFL left.
It's tough. So we're at the halfway mark. Hit us up. Let us know what you got. Let's go Jets. 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 Give me that division, Greg. Give me that division.